Psychiatrists who treated her decided this was the best way to protect her from the curious media who wanted to meet the girl who spent 13 years locked in a room.
Hello all, in today's video we're going to talk about this kid. Imagine a little girl locked in a room for 13 years, abused by her own father, unable to speak, unable to get help. This is the story of Genie, one of the most tragic and shocking cases in the human history. It was October in 1970. Jeannie's mother finally escaped from her abusive husband and walked into one of the social welfare office in the US. This decision changed everything, which shook everyone present there. Jeannie was 13 years old, but she doesn't look one day older than 6 years. She was silent because she was unable to speak and she could not chew food properly, and moreover she walked like a rabbit hopping. This was the moment the world finally discovered Genie Wiley, who has been living in hell for 13 long years. Jeannie was so underweight, she was just 26 kg. From around Jeannie was 20 months old, she was tied to a potty chair, something that looks like this, all day. Barely any food. And if you think that is worst, at nights she was tied into a sleeping bag with a wire mesh on top, which is just like a cage. Not just like a cage, it is a cage. The room was dark, no stimulation, no ventilation, and it was absolute hell. She was not just abused, she was also ignored and malnourished. Her father barely fed any food, just soft boiled eggs, some baby food. Even after she was 20 months old, she was still fed with baby food. This led into underdevelopment in so many areas, including teeth, muscle, and basic growth, and absolute madness, no human contact. Her father denied anyone talking to her, not even mother and brother. If Jeannie made any noise or sound, she was beaten with a wooden stick, brutally. Her father often barked and growled like a dog, just to make her keep quiet, so that she'll develop a trauma and fear of these creatures, anyone apart from her father, including her father, I'm sorry. That means imagine someone tied up to a chair the whole day, and at night you just lie down and you are tied. You can't stand up, you can't walk, you barely breathe. Even when she was rescued, she barely walked. Can you imagine how sad it is? Doctors also discovered she weighed like 26 to 27 kg, and she was already 13 years old when she was rescued, but she looked like 6 years old maximum, that's it. I read the story when I was in college maybe. It was like a horror movie for me. I was not able to forget this for a long time, because the abuse what Jeannie had to go through, for her basically like making noise, someone is going to hit me. If I make noise or do something, a dog will come and growl at me, she'll probably eat me, something like that. Which is trauma, and it is so much, so much to take for a 13 years old like Jeannie. Imagine this for 13 years for your life. If you think our life is worst, I don't know, have no words. After the US authorities discovered her, everything changed. And we may think, now she's rescued and she's in safe hands with the government and she might live her life again. No, absolutely not. Even I thought like that, but when I completed reading, I got to know what actually happened here. After rescuing Jeannie, they had to run number of tests on her, which is not bad at all. Since most of her childhood and teenage she spent in isolation, Jeannie barely learned language and communication. It was absolutely so much for her to take, of course. As I told, even after she was rescued, she was just treated as a case study. That's it. She learned communication but not completely. She couldn't master grammar and communication. And the most heartbreaking thing, she never got love. And doctors also discovered during the research, she was not just physically abused but also sexually abused by her own father. As a teenager, when I discovered this story, only thing that was irking me to dig more into her father's childhood. Can you imagine what he had to go through to become such a psychopath? Of course, her father had very rough childhood. He was threatened, beaten, physically abused, mentally abused, everything. But that doesn't make you a bad person. That shouldn't make anyone a bad person. Of course, he had every right to be a villain, but not like this. I so wish he could have at least thought for a minute, like, this trauma shouldn't pass to my future generation, and Genie's story could have been very different if he could have been different. And of course, the case was filed against her father, where he didn't let anything sink in, he just shot himself and he told something like this world could never understand. Everything about this story is very sad, bro. I don't know why. Even if I think about it, I get chills. The reason for making this video is also the same reason. I want people to know and understand how tough the life can get for someone, and you can be grateful for how blessed you are. I'm not telling that is justified, but you can always be kind to someone because we don't know what is going on in their life.
You want to see your father? Father is not living. You remember what it was like when you lived at home? What were you sitting on when you ate?
During that time, Genie was making very big headlines in the history, so the US government decided to isolate her again. One thing is common in the story. Can you imagine the trauma each and everyone had to go through? Not just Genie Wiley, her mom, her father's childhood, and her brother. They kept her in some orphanage or charity. I hope she's good there. I personally think this is a good decision, but until and unless she is safe. One of the researcher or a doctor, I don't remember, she actually took a special care of Genie, knowing that she deserves love more than anything.
Food is for.
Because in the lab they were making experiments, making her walk, and so many. Which is so sad to see, and she felt something and took her to home and kept for few days, and US government denied it, saying this is a subject and you cannot raise someone like this, and they had to send back. After that, US government became very strict about it, for a good reason, yes. And the doctor, which I told earlier was a good doctor, she had to hire someone to go and check on Genie, and all she heard was they never actually want her to talk to Genie or anyone talk to Genie, but they told she's happy somewhere, and in the US she's somewhere there but she's happy. Imagine this as a bubble, and can you see the root cause of this? You and me had to be thankful to God because we have loving parents as a child. Life of 3 to 4 people, including his wife, his daughter, his son, everyone are suffering. This is an example, perfect example if you ask me, how important is childhood to us. I know I'm very limited in storytelling because I'm just a beginner. If you want to read more about it, you can use sources like Reddit and Wikipedia and so much things. This video is not 100% of her life, you can read more about her in online. I was so glad I forgot about this long back, and for this video I had to prepare something and I had to go through the articles and posts and whatever again. So I remember everything again, and the nostalgia and everything hit me again. I'm disturbed, bro. I mean, not the video, but the story. How haunting a childhood can be. And if you lose childhood, you're done, bro. I mean, nothing in your life. Jeannie suffered talking. She never spoke. She don't know anything in childhood. And she was discovered. She got help as a teenager in 13 years old. But she was barely speaking after that. So can you imagine how important a childhood is? There is no takeaway or anything in this video. If you like the content, you can subscribe. For more, you can comment, and see you. Bye.